Bonner. Welcome to the 9 Patchalong 5.0. This is the final block number 9. I'm always so amazed at how fast these 9 Patchalongs go. They just fly. Time flies when you're having fun. If you've not yet, make sure you do check out the first 4 versions of the 9 Patchalong. So every year in September, I host this free stitch along where I share 9 ways to machine quilt a 9-patch quilt block. These are free tutorials where I'm teaching you how to use machine quilting rulers. So we're 5 years in. There's a lot of ways out there that you can use our machine quilting rulers to machine quilt these awesome 9-patch blocks. And don't forget to share your progress in our Peace and Quilt Show and Tell Facebook group. I love seeing what you're working on. So today, for the final block, we are going to be machine quilting using my Sway 4 machine quilting ruler, my Sway 3 machine quilting ruler, and of course we're going to be doing a bit of marking using the blue Mark Be Gone marker. Let's hop over to my machine and let's get stitching. Welcome to the 9 Patchalong 5.0. In this series, we'll explore 9 unique 9-patch machine quilting designs, perfect for quilters of all skill levels. To get started, you'll need a few essential materials and supplies. We'll be using the Sway machine quilting rulers available at peaceandquilt.com and marking our quilts with the blue Mark Be Gone marker. To remove the marks, mist the area with a solution of 1 cup water and 1 teaspoon baking soda, repeating as necessary until the marks are completely gone. The batting we will use is Quilter's Dream wool, and the threads are so fine and the Super Bob bobbins. All of my quilting is done on a Gamble 22-inch machine, stitching in the stitch regulated mode at 13 stitches per inch. Each design is taught by me, Natalia Bonner, using these machine quilting rulers, ensuring you achieve the best results. Quilters of all skill levels and machine types are welcome to join, but you must have a machine in good working condition, a basic knowledge of ruler quilting, a ruler foot, and base plate. Additionally, the piecing pattern and design workbook for this series are available for purchase at peaceandquilt.com. Let's get started and create some beautiful quilts together. I'll start out by using the blue Mark Be Gone marker and of course that long straight ruler that I purchased from the Quilted Pineapple. Because I'm marking here using a blue Mark Be Gone marker on blue fabric, you will see sometimes I go over my markings a few times because I really want to be able to see it. But because I'm marking so heavily, I definitely want to make sure that when I'm done quilting this quilt, that these markings are removed completely. So really heavy markings are going to leave a little bit more ink on the quilt, which means I'm probably going to be misting them like several times. I may even need to soak the quilt just to make sure all of my markings are removed completely. So I'll mark the horizontal lines and then I'll rotate the ruler and also mark vertical lines, creating a T right through the center of each of these blocks. Next, I'm going to go through and I'm actually going to do quite a bit of marking. I'm going to use the Sway 4 machine quilting ruler. The hook end of all of the Sway machine quilting rulers is designed for marking. So because this is the Sway 4, I am marking a perfect 4-inch circle. Now when quilting with the Sway 4, really all of the Sway machine quilting rulers, we're just focusing on the Sway 4 for now. When quilting with that, I want to make sure I'm using the circle end and the concave side of those rulers. The way that I have designed the Sway machine quilting rulers, I have taken into consideration your ruler foot. So when machine quilting with rulers, you're going to have an extra 1/4 of an inch that's added to all of your curves, because from the side of your foot to your needle position is a 1/4 of an inch. So the lines that I'm marking right now with the hook end of the Sway machine quilting ruler are the lines that I'm actually going to quilt on. And then when I'm quilting, I'll use the circle end and the concave side because those are designed to glide along your ruler foot. I hope that makes sense. This way rulers really are awesome and the possibilities with them are endless. What I'm marking here, these full 4-inch circles, notice how I'm flipping the Sway 4 machine quilting ruler back and forth to mark each of those curves. Now for this block, this is probably kind of doing a little bit of overkill on the markings. Like, you really probably don't have to do this many markings. I like to do it just to show you, you can do a lot of markings and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't believe in the quilt police. But if you are ready just to begin quilting, you don't have to do all of the circles. You could just start out by marking those T's through each of the blocks. Once I have all of that marking complete, now I'm ready to begin stitching. I'm now going to be using that circle end on the Sway 4 machine quilting ruler. And what's really cool with this block is because I have done all of that marking, then when I want to stitch down the closer portion of the circle to my body, I can easily use the concave side of the Sway 4 machine quilting ruler and hold that more towards my body. The way that I designed these rulers, I wanted to be able to hold a ruler in a really comfortable position as I'm machine quilting swirls. You can also quilt feather spines, all sorts of things with these rulers, but I find that I'm really uncomfortable when I'm holding the ruler behind my foot. So I designed the ruler so that you can always hold the ruler in a comfortable position towards your body. Now notice here, as I'm stitching out these first 3 circles, how I'm using kind of a snake pattern, and I'll go over, under, work all the way to the right, and then come back to the left. By stitching in that type of a snake pattern, where the lines do cross over each other, I feel like I end up with a little bit more fluid circles than if I'm doing like just across the bottom and then coming back just across the top. But that does not mean that you cannot do it in that pattern. This is just what I found works best for me. Once I finish that first row, then I'm going to travel over and I'm going to stitch the second row. So here you can see on this block, I actually chose to start at the bottom of the block and work away from my body. I do have this quilt basted out really nicely, and you can see that I've also stitched my sashing, which I do have a free tutorial available for that sashing design. But because that's all stitched out already, I feel like my block is pretty stable, and so I felt like I could start at the bottom of the block. If I were quilting this design like across a whole entire quilt, I would definitely make sure to start more at the top and work to the bottom. I'm going to be repeating this process until I've filled in all 9 of my 4-inch blocks using these adorable 4-inch circles and the Sway 4 machine quilting ruler. Once I've reached that final stitch on my final circle, now I'm actually going to switch to the Sway 3 machine quilting ruler and just add a fun wavy line through all of my circles. So remember that T that we'd marked out. I am going to be using the circular end and the concave side of the Sway 3 machine quilting ruler. First, I'll stitch to that center mark point, then from there I'll switch to the concave side of the ruler and stitch across the block. And you'll see how I'll repeat that, creating just this nice wavy flow moving through the center of each of these blocks. Whenever using machine quilting rulers and you're not using the markings on the ruler, what you always want to remember is that you're going to hold your ruler 1/4 of an inch away from where you want your thread to intersect. Occasionally, I do have to kind of slightly adjust my rulers as I'm quilting to make sure that my stitching will end up right where I want it to. Okay, so I did stitch across that first row because I'm creating this design as I quilt it out. Then you can see I actually here switched, and now I'm stitching the vertical row going down instead of all the horizontal rows. I did this because I wanted to make sure what I had in my brain was going to come out the way that I thought it would. So usually I would probably go through and do like all of the horizontal waves and then come back through and do all the vertical waves. But on this one, just because I was figuring it out, I did stitch that one row. So now I'm going to continue on stitching those wavy lines, working back and forth between the circle end and the concave side on the Sway 3 machine quilting ruler. And then last but not least, because I love the look of Stitch in the Ditch, I just love how it makes each block finish off so nicely. So I'm going to switch to the straight side of that Sway 3 machine quilting ruler and complete this block by stitching in the ditch. I absolutely have loved this version of the 9 Patchalong 5.0. All of these blocks just make me so happy. But like I mentioned, we do have 4 other versions of the 9 Patchalong available for you, where I am teaching you how to machine quilt 9 patch quilt blocks using our machine quilting rulers. Check those out on our website, peaceandquilt.com. I can't wait to see all of your progress. Don't forget to share your machine quilting inspired by these designs in our Peace and Quilt Show and Tell Facebook group. Have a great day, everybody.